What's up, guys? Oh no, don't shake. It's another race week, of course. It's a big race week, in fact, this weekend. Lots of motorsport going on. We've got the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, of course, which you're going to look at in this video. Also Formula E in Paris. For those who are interested, there's another couple of videos that I'll link in the description of this one. One is a track guide for the Paris E-Prix for Formula E fans. I'll link that. And also, you may have seen it already, but I did a video the other day of a track run around the Azerbaijan Grand Prix circuit, looking at the real details, the nuances close up of that Baku Street city centre circuit. This video itself is going to be a big look at the details of the event itself, what challenges it presents to the teams and to the drivers. And as ever now, at the end, I've teamed up with the GPbox.com and I have a massive giveaway, particularly big giveaway for Kimi Raikkonen fans. If you're a Kimi fan, and let's face it, we all are, stay tuned. I'll tell you what you can win and how you can win it at the end of this video. Right then, the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Great track, one of the longest on the calendar, second only to Spa, just over 6 kilometres in length. I think it's the lowest track, 28 metres below sea level, which doesn't present any particular challenges for the teams, but it is definitely an unusual circuit in lots of other regards and presents therefore a number of fairly unique challenges. This is a circuit divided up into 3 sectors, as they all are, but 3 very, very unique sectors, and each one of those requires something very, very different from the car and driver. And of course, you can't really give the driver a car designed specifically for each of those 3 sectors, so it's a massive compromise between what you want in the very, very fast sector 3 and into the beginning of sector 1. And then the sector 1 itself, full of 90-degree corners where it's very slow speed, and then the tight, really twisty section through the old town in sector 2. So the car really wants 3 completely different cars for this type of circuit. But of course we can't have that. Well, the first big challenge of this circuit comes at the first big corner, turn 1. Almost 90-degree, quite wide left-hander, but it comes at the end of the longest flat-out section of any Formula 1 track we go to, of course. Hello, mate. And the challenge that presents is that at the end of that straight, where the cars have been at maximum velocity for a long period of time, means that everything is cooled down. The brakes are far cooler than the ideal. The tyres, particularly front tyres, been in that airflow. Massive. Come here, Pharrell. Come here. Massive amount of airflow for a long period of time. So front tyres have dropped way below optimum temperature, brakes are way below optimum temperature, and then you've got to stamp on them incredibly hard to slow the car down for that slow 90-degree bend. So it's a real big challenge to manage that from a driving perspective. Easy to lock brakes, it's a big overtaking opportunity at that point, but actually it's a big opportunity to capitalise when others get it wrong, which will definitely happen. The race can be quite cool in Baku now that we've moved it forward to April from its original summer time slot, and the race starts later, doesn't it, in the afternoon, so temperature drops as the race goes on. So temperature, one of the biggest challenges here, and actually balancing temperature between front and rear. So one of the toughest things is actually keeping tyre temperature not only in the right window, but actually bringing the tyre temperature of the front and rear axles up kind of in unison with each other is a real difficult task. So you get through that first sector, it's all about the sort of slow speed 90-degree bends. It's a series of them where traction is absolutely key. Getting the power down at the slow corners is really, really crucial to lap time. Teams used to bring a sort of much higher downforce setup to this track to kind of cope with the twisty bits of this circuit, the slower speed stuff, thinking that was perhaps the quickest way round. But actually in recent years it's become much more apparent that the long straight at the end of the lap is such a defining factor of this track that actually you can make up as much time as you want through the twisty bits. If you're not quick down that straight, if you don't have a massively high top speed, you will get swallowed up through drafting and through DRS in that long straight part of the track at the end of the lap. Because it's a street track, it has the typical furniture of street tracks. It has the lumps and bumps, the manhole covers, the white painted lines, which if it does rain become incredibly slippery. So those are all the things, the sort of normal street track things. But the biggest difference about this street track to any other is the high speed part of the lap. Yes, you've got to thread it through the eye of a needle going through the tight and twisty bits, particularly that old part of town, but get to the end of the lap and you need everything that power unit and that car can give you in terms of top speed. So you need Monza-like downforce levels almost for the last part. You need Monaco-type downforce levels for the first part. So massive compromise between the two, and somewhere in the middle you have to find a balance. Just talking about tyre temperature being key here, one of the other things about this circuit is because it's in a built-up city, the buildings that run either side of the racetrack, very tall, high-rise buildings, lots of them, actually end up casting long shadows, even on a hot summer's day, over the circuit or certain parts of the circuit. And that means that the tarmac in those areas can be at a vastly different temperature to the tarmac that might be actually out in the sun at other parts of the lap. And those hugely different surface temperatures of the track can make quite a big difference to the amount of grip generated between the tyre and the racetrack itself. Pirelli have brought the same tyre nominations as China, so middle of the range, C2, C3, C4. So there's a high chance of a safety car around Baku because of the tightness of the circuit, the closeness of the circuit walls, the barriers, means that any mistakes are punished heavily. And perhaps because of the high-speed nature of this street circuit, those mistakes can be not only costly for those involved, but very disruptive for the race and the circuit itself, because at those speeds, if you hit one of those concrete barriers, well, there can be bits everywhere and the circuit can get blocked, and that can easily bring out full course yellows, safety cars, even red flags around this place. So your strategy has to be very flexible to accommodate that. Now that long straight, and it is an incredibly long straight, when I ran it the other day I can testify that it's a long straight. But because it's so long, because speeds get so high, and because you're on full throttle, excuse me you two, because you're on full throttle for so long, there's a number of ways to look at it, because approaching that long straight in second place, if you like, chasing one of your main rivals, you'd think gives you the opportunity to draft and get by, but because the straight's so long, actually that process can happen 2 or 3 times along the length of that straight. You can be passed and then repassed and then repassed again before you finally get to the braking zone at turn 1. So there's a strategic element as to when you want to set up your overtaking moves, depending who it is you're up against. You know, we might all look at Ferrari here and say, look, they've had a top speed straight line advantage in the first few races. This is a circuit that could well play to those strengths, and it absolutely could. So braking, traction and top speed, of course, the keys to this circuit. So that means power units, strong power units will be rewarded. It means aero efficient cars will be rewarded, because if you've got to take drag off the car to maximise your top speed, if you've got an efficient, aero efficient car, you can take drag off the car without having to take off as much downforce as you might otherwise have to if you haven't got such an aero efficient car. In a sort of inefficient aero car, you're taking drag off, which also removes a whole bunch of downforce. So if you can manage to remove drag without too much downforce, you can maximise the strengths of your car around different parts of the lap. And the other thing is that mechanical grip. If you've got a car that has mechanical grip through the twisty parts where you've already taken off downforce but can still rely on mechanical grip levels to get you through that part of the circuit, well, that's also a massive advantage. Plenty of places to overtake, plenty of options for different strategies. This normally provides us with a great race. There's always something going on, there's always a potential for kind of disaster in terms of anybody's race going wrong. We've seen it a number of times, haven't we? And that makes for spectacular racing. That means that if you're watching it, you generally cannot leave the edge of your seat for the whole of the Grand Prix. And that, I think, is what we really need in any circuit venue. I absolutely love the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. It's grown to be one of my favourites, and as I said in the video the other day, I never thought I'd be saying that about a Baku, an Azerbaijan city centre street racing circuit. But there you go. Should we go and have a look at it on the game? Right, flat out then for what seems like forever along here. Pits on the left hand side, grandstand on the right. I'm going to slow it down here. This is where we come to the end of this incredibly long straight at maximum speed, desperately trying to get the car stopped with cold tyres and cold brakes. Very easy to lock up in this braking zone. Big runoff area to the right hand side, so you can find your limits in practice, but it's all about getting on the power early out of these slow 90-degree corners where you've got very little aerodynamic downforce to help you through here. Look how the shadows I was talking about cover parts of the track here, cooling the track surface temperature down massively. The run down to turn 3 is fast with a big stop at the end of it, another big overtaking opportunity through here, getting it turned in, running as close to all of these barriers as you dare as a Formula 1 driver, but without touching them, clipping the curves but not too much. This is flat through this slight left kink, again getting stopped and turned in, brushing the barriers, brushing the curbs, cars coming the other way down the other side of that central section there, and this is where we come to the end of Sector 1 and turn into what will be Sector 2 in the old part of town. Incredibly narrow through here, just 5 paces wide. If you saw my video the other day, very easy to get that wrong. Before we start the long climb, flat out through here, using whatever aerodynamics the car has left after you've taken all that downforce off to maximise your top speed. Massive speed before stopping heavily, braking and turning downhill, blasting down this steep section again towards the last part of the lap, stopping again, getting it turned in early on the power, because this is where that longest flat out section in all the Formula 1 tracks begins. Whoa, got that wrong. Easy to get it wrong through there. It seems like an easy part of the circuit. All you're doing is putting your foot flat to the floor, but you've got to be accurate. You cannot get it wrong because the consequences are massive. Checking your mirrors all the way down here to make sure no one's coming up behind you in a slipstream, and that ends the lap, and we do it all over again. It's a great circuit, it's a fantastic event, I'm really looking forward to it. Who do you think is going to come out on top? I mean, can that top speed advantage that we've seen from Ferrari really bear fruit this time? Can somebody overturn that Mercedes dominance that we've had in 2019? Or will we see an upset? We've seen Sergio Perez on the podium here, we've seen Lance Stroll on the podium in Baku. Will we see something like that again? Let me know in the comments, I'd love to know your thoughts on it, I'd love to know who you think is going to come out on top here. Can't wait for it though. Right, let's get into the giveaway. I said at the beginning this was a big giveaway if you're a Formula 1 fan, if you're a Kimi Raikkonen fan, and when I said it's a big giveaway, I mean in every sense of the word. Look at this. Check that out. A massive Kimi print on canvas of him in his Ferrari, which I absolutely love. It's by Jeremy Owen. I think it's brilliant. If you want to check out Jeremy's stuff, you can find his page on thegpbox.com. It's thanks to both of those guys that this is even happening. If you're a Kimi fan, you cannot be impressed. You cannot help but be impressed by this. If you would like to own it, it can be yours. All you have to do this week, we're going back to Twitter this week to do the competition. We've done YouTube, we've done Instagram, we've done Twitter, back to Twitter again. You can be anywhere in the world to win this. I've sent prizes to Australia, I sent one to Sri Lanka last time out. and we've had one go off to the further up north in the UK as well. So wherever you are in the world, all you need to do is be following me, the GP Box, and Jeremy Owen on Twitter, and I will link all of that at the bottom of the screen, but also in the description as well. So certainly go and follow us all on Twitter. I need you to share this video by clicking the share button. Where is it? Down here somewhere. Hit the share button and share the video on Twitter using the hashtag GPBBAK. Hashtag GPBBAK, and that will enable me to find it. Tag us all in it. So tag me, tag Jeremy Owen, and tag the GP Box. As I say, links in the description for those. And I will make sure that you go into that draw, which I will be doing after the Grand Prix on Monday, to pick out a winner, and this will be heading your way wherever you are. So go for it. I hope you have great luck in doing that. I hope you enjoy the weekend. I am really looking forward to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. I hope you are too. Enjoy it, folks. Have a great one. I'll see you soon.